Hey kids, welcome back to Kids Church for term 3. This term at Kids Church, we're going to be looking at a book in the Bible called John. And John wrote his book in the Bible so that people, all people, you and me as well, would know that Jesus is the Son of God. That's what John tells us his book is about. And we're going to start at the very start of John's book. And at the very start, John talks about the beginning. He talks about the beginning of all the world, the beginning of creation. And he says that God was there in the beginning. God the Father, God the Son, and God the Spirit. God was there in the beginning, and God made the whole world. And that means Jesus made the world. I want to read to you a little bit from John chapter 1, verse 1, and then we might think a little bit more about what it means that Jesus was there when God made the world, because that's a bit confusing, isn't it? John chapter 1, from verse 1, it says this: "In the beginning was the one who is called the Word." Now, the Word is like another name that we sometimes use for Jesus. So from now on, when it says the Word here, I'm going to say Jesus instead. "In the beginning was the one who is called the Word. And Jesus was with God and was truly God. From the very beginning, Jesus was with God. And with this Word, that's Jesus, God created all things. Nothing was made without Jesus. Everything that was created received its life from him, and his life gave light to everyone." So, kids, do you know if Jesus made the whole world, that means when Jesus was born and he looked up and he saw the sky and he saw the stars, they were stars that he had made. And when he laid in a manger surrounded by all kinds of animals, they were animals that he had made, because Jesus was born into a world that he had made. And when Jesus was a little baby and he was all wrapped up in cloths in his bed, and he looked up and he saw his mum, it was the mum that he had made. Because Jesus made the world. That's what John chapter 1 verse 1 tells us. And when Jesus got a little bit older and he ran along the ground, it was ground that he had made. And when he climbed up hills, they were hills that he had made. And when he stood on top of mountains, they were mountains that he had made, because Jesus was born into the world that he had made. And then when Jesus got a bit older and he was an adult, he used to travel around a lot in a boat. And he would travel on his boat on all kinds of lakes and oceans. Lakes and oceans that he had made. And one time Jesus even walked on water. Water that he had made. And sometimes Jesus and his friends would catch fish. Lots of fish. Fish that Jesus had made, because Jesus was born into a world that he had made. Now that's interesting, because that is why when Jesus told people to go and catch lots of fish, they caught so many fish that their boat began to sink. Because Jesus was in charge of the fish, and he was in charge of the fish because he made the fish. Jesus lived in a world that he had made. And that's why when he found people who were paralyzed, who couldn't walk and who were laying on the ground, and he told them to get up and walk, they got up and they walked away. Why? Because Jesus made them. He could be in control of them because he had made them. Now, you know, kids, when you buy a piece of clothing, sometimes there's a tag inside the clothes and it tells you who made that clothing. Well, you know, since Jesus made the whole world, everything in it, he made all the animals and he made the oceans and the lakes and he made the fish and he made the hills and the mountains and the ground and his mum and the stars. He made it all. That means that everything, including you and me, we have a tag that says made by Jesus. We were made by Jesus. Because Jesus was born into a world that he had made, and it was a world that he would eventually die for. We're going to keep learning a little bit more about Jesus through the rest of this term as we keep looking at John's Gospel. But for now, there's some activities for you to do with your family on the church website. So enjoy those, and we'll see you guys again next week to learn more from John about Jesus. See ya.